Hey guys, Jonah here, back with another beer review. And yeah, after having an incredibly light beer yesterday, I thought I'd have a stronger one today. Um, and I've been to the pub and had a couple of beers already. So anyway, got a couple of things to show you actually. We've got the beer, which, well, yeah, let me show you the beer. This is an slightly older beer. It's Cloudwater versus the range. G'day, mate. And it is the DIPA version 16. So it's slightly, yeah, slightly past its best. This was best before sometime towards the end of 2024. But it's an 8% DIPA. And yeah, it's been sitting, chilling away in the fridge for a couple of days. This is the last beer that I got from the Black Friday event down at the Royston. Cheers and beers to you, Andy. And this was, it was £9 something, I think. If it's going to focus, 9.30, I think it is. Yeah, 9.30, and I picked it up for probably £6 something. Because he gave me a third off. Well, he gave me a third off, and then because he was feeling generous, like he always is when I smile and wink at him. Yeah, he rounded it down. So I spent, I think I spent 35 quid ish, something like that. And I knew, dear viewer, that this was the last beer of that series. So I was in the Royston the other day, and I said, "Oh yeah, all those beers that I had for Black Friday, I got rid of them all." He goes, "Oh, do you want a bargain?" And I was like, "Damn right I do." And he gave me a very old can, which I haven't actually got up here, but he said, "Here you go, you can have this one for sticker price." And I was like, "What?" Looked at the sticker, £0.00. So we're like, it's a free beer, but he's stuck a label on it. So that made me laugh. So cheers, mate. The other thing that I picked up, now this is ridiculous, and this isn't the beer I'm having today, obviously, but check this fucker out. This is Titanic Brewery, of course, legendary Manchester brewery. Um, Plum Porter, one of my favourite beers of all time. This is the Grand Reserva, but it's also been put in a port barrel, and it's absolutely ridiculous. I'm not going to go massively into this. Brewed exclusively for Christmas, blah 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 blah. This is only 6.5, but it's in a 750 bottle, and the bottle is well. If we turn it round a bit more, it's got loads of tasting notes, which I always like. But this is like crazy. I've not seen this before. It's a crown capped beer with the Titanic. It's probably not going to focus on that thing, but built into the side of the bottle, it's got a Grolsch cap that back in the 80s, it would be the early 80s, we used to wear these on our trainers. And some people, if you were cool or thought you were cool, you'd wear these on your school shoes. So you'd pull the cap off, and then somehow you'd tie this to your shoelaces. Um, Things we used to do back in the 80s. Nuts. But yeah, so that means if you don't want to drink, and I don't know if I'm going to manage it in one go. I'm definitely going to drink a lot of it, but it's a 750 bottle. So if you want to put this away and pick it up on another evening, you can reseal it with the crown cap. And the other bonus, if you're a home brewer like me, this is a pressurized, this is proper thick glass. Because it's got one of these, genius. But all sorts of good stuff in there. So that is an upcoming review. And I think this was like 12 quid, 13 quid. So reasonably expensive. But because Andy had given me a free beer anyway, I did actually pick up a couple of other beers. But we'll talk about those another time. So we've got one free beer, one really expensive beer, and a couple of other beers sort of in the middle range. So I am, yeah, shall we say, sorted for the Royston away, shall we say. I always, when I put them on Untapped, I always put bought at the Royston because I'm giving him props. And of course, on Untapped, I'm yeah, the biggest reviewer of his beers. So yeah, I'm over 300 beers now, I think. They've only been open a few years. So yeah, doing how long have they been open? 3 years, I think, probably. Yeah, so it's 100 beers a year at the Royston, and I include cider in that as well. Anyway, enough said, because we are drinking one of the other beers here, and Andy, he always puts the blooming sticker. There you go, £9.30. Look at that, it's a bit dirty, but I don't mind. I'm going to neck it all. He always sticks the sticker over the blooming where you open the beer, so you get the added taste of the price label. Except I always rip them off. Here we go. So this is, like I say, slightly out of date, but because it's a DIPA, yeah, it'll be fine. Right, give it a pressure test. Yep, no worries with that one at all. Not worried about that exploding. My God, that can is really full though. Look at that. You see that? The level is right up to the top. Cheers, Cloudwater. That's good. Apart from if that was overcarbed, my God, that would seriously go everywhere. Right, I've gone for a pint. I've gone for my yeah, my straight-sided, unbranded pint glass that I don't know where. I think this is actually a cider glass, but never mind. And I'm gonna. I see. Yeah, there we go. I did see a tiny bit of residue, so I'm not going to put that in there. So we're going to aim for it to be as clear as it can be. Look at that. That is looking properly nice. No floaty bits that I can see. Oh dear. Got a few things sticking to the side. Tell you what, I noticed this glass when I brought it upstairs. It was a bit sort of murky on the side. So I've got to have a word with the housekeeper. You need to clean the glasses properly. Maybe get some bleach in there or something. I don't know. PBW, that's what you need. Half a finger's head, I would say. Carbonation is pretty good, actually. It's reasonably fizzy. But I think this is a nucleated glass. I'm looking at the bottom. Actually, I'm not sure if it is. I used to do the thing, like a lot of beer reviewers, they have a torch and used to shine stuff up and, you know, look at the murk in the glass and all that. Especially with darker beers, it really helps out. But I'm also very lazy. So I'm afraid, dear viewer, I don't do that anymore. If I ever win the lottery and have my dedicated wine and beer dungeon and whiskey too, I'm going to kit it out. It's going to be all wood. Jono's got wood. It's going to be basically, I'm going to have a basement bar built into my house or wherever I'm living. Now, this has been in the fridge for a few days, 2 or 3 days, I think. And unfortunately, there is hardly anything on the nose, which is a real shame. Right, I'm going to hold this up to you guys. Oh, actually, I need to do a thingy, don't I? There we go. Oh, so version 16. Cheers and big ears to you all. Right, let's have a look on here. I pulled the Untapped notes, and we got Citra. Certain type, it's the Incognito. So that's from Bauhaus, which is German, I think. They've got Nelson Savant and Motueka. Well, that's weird. Motueka's Sub-Zero Hop Keef. So I guess that's, yeah, for New Zealand or Australian. And then they've also got Galaxy Citra Spectrum, which is a different process, a different type. of Citra hops, and then finished off with more Nelson Sauvin, Motueka, Ample Fire, Green Hop Oil, and that's from Clayton Hops. That sounds proper Australian. So you're getting multiple layers from different, different hop growers to give lots of different flavors. Wow! So how many hops is that? Citra, Nelson, Motueka, yeah, and then different versions of the same hops. So it's a 3 hopped beer with 3 different versions from 3 different hop growers. That's pretty good. There is something there though on the nose, and it's really interesting. I'm wondering if that's the hop oil coming through, because that'll be a liquid. It's already processed. I would imagine they would put it in really late because you don't really need to dry hop so much if you're using oil. You just put it in. Same with the powder. Do you remember hop powder used to be a thing like 10, 15 years ago? And it was literally a powder, and you'd add it in very late on in your brew, and sometimes it would just stick on the top, like on the meniscus, because of the surface tension of your beer, especially if it has stopped fermenting a little bit. So if you're putting it in like after maybe a week or 2 weeks, it would tend to sit on top, and you don't really need to stir it that much. A lot of people would kind of, when they were transferring from one vessel to a secondary vessel, I know I'm getting a bit technical here. Yeah, that was a thing. These days, people don't do secondary tanks and bright tanks and stuff as much. Some breweries do it, of course, and it does have an impact on the beer. But with hazy beers, you don't really need to that much. Yeah, there's other methods for clearing your beer out, but yeah, that works. Yeah, sorry. And what I was going to say, they put the hops in the bottom, and then maybe they'd fill from the bottom as well, but the contact would be from the bottom than just dropping it on the top. That makes sense. Maybe it doesn't make a difference. Who knows? Anyway, I've been talking far too long and I haven't even drunk any beer yet. This is going to be a long video. Strap in, dear fellow. Oh, wow, that is really nice. Okay, this is not an insane hop bomb. This is really good. This is really nicely layered. So we're getting some citrus, definitely. We're getting a bit of pineapple as well, which is really nice. Maybe a little bit of stone fruit, kind of. But all mixing together, but in a really nice way. I'll tell you what will be interesting. I don't think it concentrates so much on the hops. It doesn't say what's in there malt wise. Let's see if the can will give away some of the secrets. Does it say the ingredient? Yeah, there we go. Barley, oats, and wheat. The trifecta of a modern hazy beer. It does not taste like that. And as you can see, you can kind of see, I mean, the glass has frosted a little bit, but you can definitely see movement through there. This is not a thick, cloudy beer by any means. Really nice. The other thing is, especially for a stronger beer, and let me remind you, this is an 8% beer. Look at that line, that tide line. My God, that's right there, stuck on the side. Cheers and beer. Oh, there's a nice zestiness there too. But it's not. I was going to say it's not pithy, but there is a little bit of that there. But it's not like grapefruit pith. It's not a really deep one. It's more a zesty thing, like I said. Yeah, I wonder what's doing that. I wonder what the hop. It's got to be the Galaxy, I'd imagine. Citra doesn't usually do that. But then, because there's so many different types of hops in there, because they've put so much different stuff in, beg your pardon, it's going to be hard to work out where, unless they've done like, I mean, Cloudwater are clever. They've got some really good brewers there. They've probably got a really good testing uh, setup. What do they call them? Test batches. And I guess this whole version, DIPA version, is a way of testing beers in itself. So, wow, that's good. Yes, the other thing is I am actually tasting the Nelson with the high notes. Oh, bit of gas there, bit of chest pain. Hopefully I'm not having a heart attack. If I am, dear viewer, this is my last beer review, and what a beer to have! Cloudwater. Um, Could put it on my gravestone. He thought he had heartburn, but really it was a heart attack on a plate. Um, yeah, the Nelson, it's giving, for a change, the Nelson is giving that grape kind of thing for me. That's definitely in there. And it's a kind of juicy style. I was going to say, because it's not so cloudy, I would say the wheat and oats they've used in here, they've used sparingly. And that's good because it is not one of those modern style creamy beers that I'm kind of getting to like. I didn't like them to start with, you know, whenever it was 8, 9 years ago when they started doing them. I was a bit like, oh, I'm not sure about this creamy stuff. Creamy for dark beers, yes. But yeah, in your IPAs, I wasn't a fan, but they're around so much, my palate's kind of got used to them. And it is the way it should be, really, especially with the modern styles. This one, though, yeah, they backed off a little bit on that, and it's giving it a little bit of that juicy quality. This is not a juice bomb by any means. So if you're addicted to hops like Simcoe, for example, that are the ones they use predominantly to create that juiciness, this isn't necessarily for you, but it's a lovely fruity flavour. It's good. And the other thing is, I was very much convinced from looking at the thing that it was going to have a lot of green, verdant stuff going on. And that is not the case at all. This is not a superbly bitter beer. Really good. I'm liking this one. Ooh. Yeah, maybe there is a touch of greenness right at the beginning. In fact, I'm getting, as well as the grapes, and it's definitely a green grape or a white grape, should I say. I'm also getting a hint of apple in there, and it's not like an off flavour apple kind of taste. So don't worry about that. It's literally like zesty green apple. Um, that's that's really nice too. I'm wondering if that's coming from the Citra. If one of these extracts is kind of pulling out the green apple kind of flavour from the Citra hops. Really, really nice. I am enjoying this. If you can get hold of these, I have seen these about elsewhere. Obviously, this one was a slightly older version. Um, but yeah, Cloudwater versus the range, and it's their V16. Really nice. Like, really good. I think I'm preferring this one to some of the other versions that I've had. Oh, God, I haven't really had that much food, but because I've had those other beers, oh, I've almost reached capacity, if you know what I'm saying. Really, really cool. just having a look to see what the score. Okay, so it's over 4 on Untapped, which is always a good sign because you know the balance is a range, is a standard deviation. If you think about things with curves, I have a partial background in mathematics. Um, so I like looking, and I'm quite a visual person, so I like seeing curves. Unfortunately, I've got the straightest of straight glasses, but I like the feminine bulge, shall we say. Um, but yeah, so some people have scored this high, like up near 5. For those of you that don't subscribe to Untapped, and for those of you that are still listening, because we've gone over 20 minutes, which is, you know, I always try and keep it under. I try and aim for about 10 minutes, but it always goes over. If I'm under 10 minutes, I'm usually having a bad day or in a rush. But 20 minutes is unusual. But when you're having an 8% beer, you can't neck them. Well, I can try. Um, what I was saying, Untapped scoring system is out of 5. So it's very rare. Well, it's impossible to get 5, basically. Everyone scoring the beer would have to score it maximum. I mean, it's theoretically possible, but no, that will never, ever be the case. Because it would say everyone in the world thinks that this particular beer is the best beer they've ever had. It's like, yeah, it's not going to happen. And on this scoring, I can see uh, 3,300, 3. So yeah, 3,000 people. You'd imagine some people have scored it high, but some people have scored it a little bit lower. But to get an average over 4, that's good. That's, yeah, unexpected, shall we say. If you've only had about 1 or 2 reviews and you hit a 4 or 5, okay, yeah, maybe. But for that many reviews, that's a good score. And let me tell you, I agree. This is a really good beer. I'm sad to see that one go. And yeah, because it was one of the beers that's a kind of slightly harder to get hold of, and it was past its date. I'll probably never try this one again. But yeah, if you guys have been sitting on one of these, DIPA versus the range, DIPA version 16 gets high recommendations from Unclejona. Guys, please take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Ooh, I was going to think about cracking this open. No, I'm going to save this one for a special occasion. Unclejona will be back. It might be that one, but I'm not promising anything. You know, the only way you'll know for sure is if you subscribe to this channel. So why don't you do it like? And while you're there, especially if you've been listening for like 25 minutes, it must be worth a like. So click the thumbs up on YouTube. It really does help out for the channel and the growth. I've got a bit of a slow growth, if that makes sense. A slow burn. That's what we'll say. Anyway, this has been Unclejona, and I will be back with whatever beer I choose, and that's going to be coming up real soon.